Hi everybody, it's John with Backyard Eden. Today we're looking at how to chit potatoes. Stay tuned. Hi everybody, it's John with Backyard Eden. Just thought I'd bring you a quick look today at what I've been working on for at least a couple of weeks now. And it is something that I grew last year and I want to grow more of this year. And so they did okay for me last year. I grow them in pots, and I'll get more into that in a minute. But it worked pretty good. I want to grow more, and so I wanted to get an early start. And with the new greenhouse, I thought I'd plant them in the greenhouse so that I could actually add. I'm thinking probably 2 weeks on to my planting schedule, being that I have that greenhouse. So, but anyways, what we're talking about today is how to chit potatoes. You heard me. How to chit potatoes. I know that kind of sounds like I'm saying a bad word, but I'm not. So if you know what I'm talking about, that's great, but let me just explain it to you. Basically, when you're planting potatoes, you'll want to let them sprout, and that is chitting. Basically, it's where the potato starts to develop eyes, and when it starts to develop those eyes or sprouts, then they're ready to plant. So I've been doing that for a few weeks now, and I do it a little bit differently than everybody else. First off, the first difference is that I use store-bought potatoes. This time of year, December, early part of January, it's hard to find seed potatoes here in Zone 8 in Texas, and so they usually don't start putting out the seed potatoes, the onions, any of that sort of stuff. They don't usually start putting that out until mid to late January. And so in order to get an early start, I either have to order them from a seed supplier, or what I've done in the past is just started my own. And essentially what I mean by that is starting my own potatoes is I buy them at the store, allow them to start to sprout, and then I plant them from that, from the store-bought potatoes. And so that's what I'm doing this year. And like I said, I wanted to get an early start, so I've got a couple of different ones started. But essentially, all I do is I take the potatoes. In this case, here's 3 little Yukon Golds. Okay. These were bought. So I have these little Yukon Golds, and they were bought at the regular supermarket, grocery store, whatever you're going to call it. Not organic, not anything. Okay, honestly, doesn't have to be organic. I know you're probably thinking, whoa, 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 whoa! I want to grow organic potatoes. Okay, you can buy organic seed potatoes. You can buy organic potatoes from your supermarket, but honestly, it's how you grow them that makes them organic. So if you choose to fertilize potatoes with a synthetic man-made fertilizer, then they're not going to be organic. Simple as that. If you choose to grow them in compost and use only organic fertilizers, organic potatoes. So essentially all I do is I buy store-bought potatoes. allow them to start to sprout. Like you can see here, if you can see right there, it's starting to develop the little eyes. And you want, see, there's several little eyes on here that start to develop. Same thing with this other one. You can see here, there's one, there's one. There's one right here on the end, one back here on the back. Okay, that's all I do. Now, here's where I kind of do things a little differently than everybody else. Other than buying store-bought potatoes, they say to keep them in like a cool, dry place. I don't. I've shared with you before, I don't always follow the rules when it comes to gardening or anything else for that matter. All I do is I simply take my potatoes and I lay them on the table. But what I do is I don't put them under direct light or anything. I just lay them on a shelf. Matter of fact, I started, not these, I'll show you some ones that I've already started. I'll start them and usually just on top of my seed starting shelf. There's no light there really. It's kind of dark, but not really. So that's what I do. So let me show you some that I've got started. They've been started for about a week now. Well, maybe really about 2 weeks, maybe even 3. Here's some red Pontiacs. You can see there's an eye or a sprout. Same thing over here, another eye or sprout. Another one here, much smaller. Another one on the back, much, much smaller. All over the place. Now, on a potato this size, 2 to 4 sprouts are good. Here's another one. Okay. Sprouted nicely. You can see there's several little ones. Right there. Right there, there's one. And here on another one. You got one. You got several right here in a little clump. You've got a big one here. You got one there. And you got a few more in another little clump. Okay. Those are the reds. Here are some. These, I'm not actually sure. These were not labeled Yukon Golds when I bought them. They were actually just labeled yellow. So I'm not real sure, but really doesn't matter to me. So same thing here. You can see the little sprouts. These have been going for, the reds have been going much longer, but these have been going for probably 2 weeks. The reds have probably gone for 3. Some more sprouts. Sprout right here. Here's another one. Okay. So, good looking sprouts. Now, when it comes to planting, when it's time to plant, I'll do another video, but it's essentially, you can take the potato and you want to cut in between them. So each little cut piece has an eye. So you'd want to cut that, have an eye, cut this, have an eye. If you had one down here, that would be great. Cut that and have an eye. And so you'll do that, you'll cut them into pieces. You'll let the underside, the cut side, heal. It'll kind of scab over a little bit, kind of dry out, protect. And what that does is it actually protects it against rotting, different stuff like that. But I'll show you that in another video. But essentially, that's it. That's all there is to it. Is I take my potatoes, I put them in just a spot that they're out of the way, and I let them start to sprout or chit. And that's really all there is to it. So as it sits right now, I have one batch of the golds or yellows that were labeled that way. I have one batch of the reds, and I have another batch that I'm starting now. And my plan is to start them in batches, kind of succession plant them, and hopefully we generally plant potatoes on Valentine's Day or around Valentine's Day, and they are ready to harvest generally around Mother's Day. So Valentine's Day to Mother's Day. And so I'm hoping that I can get some started in mid-January and have a little bit of an early harvest, and then have some that I start maybe 2 weeks after that, and then kind of do in 2-week intervals. Last year I planted a little later than I should have, and I didn't get a great harvest, but I did get a harvest. So pretty interested to try it out, but just thought I'd bring you a little clip on how to sprout them or how to chit them so that you can be ready for planting potatoes when it's time to plant in your area. So that's it, guys. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you have any comments, questions, or suggestions, leave them in the comments section below, and I'll try to answer them in a timely fashion. If you haven't already checked out our social media, go on over there, give us a like. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Pinterest. We always like to hear from you. If you have any questions or anything, you can interact with us on social media. And if you haven't been to our website, check that out. It's www.backyard-eden.com. As always, this is John with Backyard Eden. Have a great day.
Hey, you made it to the end. Awesome. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed already, go ahead and do that right below this video. And please, if you enjoyed it, share with your friends. And I hope that you will come back and continue to watch our content, and also have an awesome day.